Let's talk about the future, specifically 2026, because when it comes to cybersecurity, things are evolving like crazy. We've got AI-driven attacks, we've got smart devices everywhere. The whole landscape is just getting more and more complex. So how do we even begin to defend it? Well, today, we're going to build the ultimate ethical hackers toolkit for this new frontier. We're breaking down the top 15 tools you absolutely need to know. And this really gets to the core of it, doesn't it? I mean, think about it for a second. Your money, your private messages, the smart thermostat in your house, it's all digital. It's all connected. So when there's a crack in that foundation, who's standing there, making sure it all doesn't come tumbling down?
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll set the scene with the 2026 Cyber Challenge. Then, we're diving into the ethical hacker's arsenal, breaking it down into tools for reconnaissance and tools for infiltration. And finally, we'll pull it all together to show you what the complete toolkit really looks like.
Okay, let's get into it. Section 1, the 2026 Cyber Challenge. You know, we're not just defending the same old castle anymore. This is a whole new digital frontier, and it's changing under our feet every single day.
Now, the hero in this story, it's not some action star in a blockbuster movie. There's no cape. The real hero is the ethical hacker. This is a pro who has to think just like an attacker to find the weak spots before the bad guys do. They are literally the front line of defense for our digital lives.
And you know, like any skilled professional, an ethical hacker is only as good as their tools and their know-how. So, let's open up the toolbox and unpack the top 15 essential pieces of software that are going to define the game in 2026.
And here it is. This is basically the cheat sheet for the pros. It lays out all 15 tools we're going to be talking about. Now, I know, looking at it all at once, it might seem like a lot. But the key thing to notice here is the variety. You've got everything from scanners to crackers. Don't worry, we're going to make sense of it all.
15 essential tools. But we're not just going to go down a list one by one. That's not helpful. Instead, we're going to group them by what they do, by their actual job, starting with the very first phase of any security check, reconnaissance.
All right, so let's build this toolkit from the ground up. First category, tools for reconnaissance. Honestly, this is the foundation for everything that comes next. It's all about gathering intelligence. It's the art of seeing everything without anyone knowing you're even looking. So, where do you start? You start by mapping the terrain. And that's exactly what network scanning is. Just think of it like a scout peering through binoculars from a hidden spot. Before you can even think about defending a castle, you need a detailed map of every single door, every window, every potential weak spot in the wall. And these are the go-to tools for that job. You've got absolute legends in here like Nmap, that's the gold standard, and Wireshark for digging deep into network traffic. And you know what's really cool? Look how many of them are free and open source. That's huge because it makes this level of security accessible to literally everyone. But these days, it's not just about the network itself. It's about all the stuff running on the network. That brings us to web app testing. So if network scanning was drawing the map of the castle, this is like walking the perimeter and physically checking every single door and window, looking for any that were left unlocked. And here's the toolkit for that specific job. You see some familiar names, right? Metasploit and Nessus are back, which shows you how versatile they are. But then you've got specialists like Burp Suite and OWASP Zap, which are just laser-focused on websites and apps. This is critical because so many of today's attacks happen right here. Okay, so you've mapped out the area, you've checked all the windows. What's the next logical step? Well, now we get to the next section, tools for infiltration. This is where you actually start testing the strength of the locks. Now, I know what you're thinking. Password cracking sounds pretty bad, right? But remember, we're talking about ethical hacking. This isn't about stealing anything. It's a stress test. You're trying to see if those secure passwords and systems are actually secure. Can a complex password be figured out in just a few minutes? These tools give you the answer so you can fix the problem. And would you look at that? This list is short, really short. We've got our jack of all trades, Metasploit again, and then we have a true master of one, John the Ripper. This really tells you something important. While lots of tools can do a little bit of everything, it takes a special kind of horsepower to do modern password cracking right.
And this comparison really nails two totally different philosophies when it comes to tools. On one side, you've got Metasploit, which is like the ultimate Swiss Army knife. It can do a pretty good job at a whole bunch of different things. And on the other side, you've got John the Ripper. That's not a knife, it's a master key. It does one thing, cracking passwords, and it does it better and faster than almost anything else. A real pro knows when to use which one.
So we've got our different components. Let's put them all together now into the complete toolkit, because as you're about to see, what really matters here isn't the software itself, it's the strategy behind it.
So let's just break it down nice and simple. A complete loadout isn't just a random collection of programs. It's a strategic system. You need your scanners to map the environment, you need web testers to check the perimeter, you need crackers to test the locks, and you need frameworks like Metasploit to tie the whole operation together. But, after looking at all this incredible technology, all these amazing tools, we land on this single most important idea. And it's this. The most powerful tool any cybersecurity pro has isn't the software on their laptop. It's the mindset they bring to the problem. It's about being curious, being ethical, and deeply understanding how things are built, so you can understand how they might break.
And that really leaves us with one final big question to think about. These tools are unbelievably powerful. They can be used to build defenses or to tear them down. So as we push forward into 2026 and beyond, what's the real deciding factor for our safety? Is it the software we create, or is it the skill, the ethics, and the mindset of the person sitting at the keyboard?